so much. Thank you, Stanford. That was, wow, this has just been already very, very inspiring. I feel like it's safe to say we are in very good hands with what we just experienced with those amazing young people sharing their thoughts, their vulnerabilities, their ideas for where we are these days. And so it's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here. When I heard it was in Nashville, I had to break out my cowboy boots. So if you can't see them in the back, you can you'll see them later on. But I figured, why not? It's time. But I do want to just say a hearty good evening to all of the students, the parents, administrators, thinkers, doers, artists, and all-around amazing people that are constituting this incredible convening. Again, I'm very deeply honored to be your keynote speaker for this necessary gathering. Of course, I have to thank once again the one and only Stanford Thompson and his staff, especially McGee Capsuto, for the logistical prowess that it takes in organizing such things, particularly my participation. We've had, speaking of hours, many an email that has transpired, and I am the creator of many complex, in-depth, rarely read spreadsheets, and I feel like I have a kindred spirit. I understand what it takes to put on events of this nature, so thank you for sure. With this organization's gathering, the mission, and the focus being on racial equity and classical music, I just have to take a moment to recognize the hallowed grounds that we're close to being here in Nashville, and that is the campus of Fisk University. Of course, we all know, and if we don't, we should know about the Fisk Jubilee Singers, who represent the best of us. Born out of the necessity to save the young and struggling university, at the time, they became a symbol of Black excellence in music on every level. And their artistry went far beyond what white audiences expected of Black entertainers back then. So they're now a modern day national treasure. And Imani Wins had the immense honor to work with them in 2015. And so I felt like I would be remiss if I did not at least acknowledge their legacy while we were standing here in this city. So if you'll indulge me for just a few minutes, I want to talk about myself, if that's okay, because I got a few stories. I have described myself as a self-proclaimed band kid. I was just like many of you young people, growing up in my beloved city of Pittsburgh. I started playing clarinet, later saxophone and the piano, heavily influenced by my late father, who was a jazz saxophonist, and my mother, who to this day, in her 87th year, remains my biggest fan. In the 8th grade, I was introduced to the bassoon by my middle school band teacher, Mr. Arthur Powell. Big up to all band teachers. Are there some in the room? I bet, maybe. It's mostly administrators. But we all have a band teacher that we can attribute so much to. And Mr. Powell said, you know what? You need a challenge. Here's a bassoon. I was immediately drawn to it, but not necessarily because of the instrument itself, at least not at that point. But the experience it eventually allowed me to have, which was playing in an orchestra. And that was the first opportunity that I had at that time. The power of the group, the power of dozens of individuals coming together for one unified cause deeply moved me at that time. Now, I just want to put a pin in that story. That's going to be in this column. And then another story is simultaneously happening. And it's not necessarily about the power of many, but now about the power of one. This is another influential teacher. He was my middle school clarinet teacher at the time, Mr. Philip Koval. Mr. Koval still is, to this day, a doubler in Pittsburgh and the surrounding area. He played clarinet, bassoon, other instruments. And so when that band teacher of mine handed me the bassoon because I needed a challenge, I immediately went to Mr. Koval and said, help me out. And he gave me a few reads, showed me the introductions to this crazy, strange, and beautiful thing. After a while, though, what he gave me next was something that I'll never forget and really changed the trajectory of my life as a young musician. He realized that I was rapidly improving and that I would better be served by another teacher. He realized something that he could continue teaching me, but that would be not best for me, even if it was best for him as an artist himself, as a working music teacher and musician. He realized his own limitations and knew one of them was being, the real meaning of being an influential teacher is to know when it's time to let a student go beyond what they can offer in order to fulfill that student's potential. And it's a gift that I'm incredibly grateful for to this day. So Mr. Koval, he introduced me to Mark Pansarev, who was the second bassoonist of the Pittsburgh Symphony at that time. Mr. Pansarev was a tall, thin, statuesque man with a long beard. He came from an Eastern European Orthodox background. He was a chain-smoking, coffee-drinking, sweet, quirky curmudgeon who loved to talk and share. He was from a bygone time. He played under the batons of Lauren Mizell, Andre Previn, William Steinberg. Our often 2+ hour lessons would include lunch or dinner with his family. He talked about things that I did not understand, that I had no idea what he was saying, but when I was old enough to comprehend, I knew I would store those things away for later reflection. He taught me the art of reed making, which would also take very long years to master. Spoiler, I never did. He told me that I should be a conductor because my time and sense of rhythm was so good. He helped my family procure my first instrument, a Fox 201, a professional model instrument, and he encouraged my family to spend that extra money then on a better horn because it would take me further. Second spoiler, it's the only instrument I've ever had. I play on it to this day. And I'm a Fox artist. He prepared me to audition for conservatory, was thrilled when I chose Oberlin, but was upset that Curtis didn't have any bassoon openings that year because he was convinced that's where I should go. He was generous with his time and his teachings, and I keep his memory alive as much as possible. If it wasn't for Mr. Powell, Mr. Koval, Mr. Pansarev, I'm not sure exactly where I would be. They shepherded me and guided me to greatness. So now back to that other pen that I had put in the column there, the power of the group. With the instruction, the very impactful instruction that I was having with Mr. Pansarev, I was able to enjoy the orchestral experience with a greater level of appreciation. I recognize we're not an island. We need the help of others. We can thrive in an environment where the common good is more than what's best for one. This notion stuck with me all the way through my undergraduate years at Oberlin, my years at Juilliard, getting my master's degree, my years at Manhattan School of Music, getting a professional studies, and then through forming Imani Winds. And we have been together now for 27 years. It's truly been my life's work to create and cultivate, maintain, evolve, make a chamber music ensemble relevant for so many years is no small task. And our young people up here talked about that very thing, relevance and showing what change can do. But Imani Winds was and is the power of the group personified. We had a mission from day one and fed off of one another. I'm so proud of the work we've done to advance diversity in classical music, commissioning dozens of composers, like was mentioned, composers of color, other underseen and underheard communities. I'm proud of our representation, being a group made up of primarily African American musicians. I'm proud of myself for being a strong black woman who plays the bassoon, of all things, at the highest level. And it's okay to be proud. This type of pride is not boastful. It is not egotistical. It is a recognition of your self-worth. And that's okay to recognize. I'm proud of the work that we do with our community development and our outreach through our foundation, with teaching budding musicians like all of you the importance of entrepreneurship in music. Proud of taking away stigma of talking about real life struggles, anxieties, and responsibilities of being a 21st century musician. And we heard some of that just a second ago with those anxieties and vulnerabilities. And while we're on that topic, I want to say this. It's simply not enough, spoiler, yet another one. It's not enough to be good at your craft. We have to offer more. And you have to reflect on what else you can offer in addition to being an excellent musician. We know this, the competition is fierce. In past generations, there were select groups of people that were able to excel because those select few were the ones with the opportunity and access on their side. That, of course, is still the case today, which makes Equity Arc organizations like it so necessary. So the byline for you guys at Equity Arc is creating a level playing field for BIPOC classical musicians in the United States. Won't it be great when we don't even have to worry that such a thing is necessary to talk about? Won't it be wonderful when everyone in whatever field, be it music, the arts, science, journalism, medicine, law, we don't have to worry about being twice as good to get half as much? It will be. It'll be a wonderful thing when that occurs, but I challenge you with another perspective. One that isn't necessarily so focused on fitting in, but showing out. Don't have to fit in, show out. Our unique culture, flavor, sabor, spice, je ne sais quoi, black girl magic, black boy joy, you name it, whatever it is, it's a commodity that everybody wants. What if we don't think about being always on the same team as our counterparts, but making a new team? What if we don't try so hard to fit into spaces that weren't built for us in the first place, but create a whole new paradigm that is better? What if who and what you uniquely are and were created to be is so far beyond that a new category has to be created just for you, young people? To me, that's the goal to aspire to. So, now don't get me wrong. Do we continue to work within the existing systems that, by the way, we deserve to be a part of just as much as anyone else? Yes. And do we acknowledge the incredible, awesome work that's going on around the country? Do we support that those that are fighting hard, Equity Arc, all of the amazing pathways organizations that we heard about doing this incredible work in Washington, Chicago, Philly, Nashville? Do we support the orchestral fellowships around the country in the great cities like Detroit, Pittsburgh, Minneapolis? Of course, of course. But while that's occurring, think about it. What's the most far-reaching, creative, outside of the box, this will never work, it's just so crazy it might work idea that you have? What's that idea? What's that notion? That's where we'll move the needle. That's where the magic will happen. That's where your peers, your colleagues, those coming behind you, those looking back in front of you will say, wow, that's progress, that's innovation, that's what I want to be a part of. Equity Arc's mission also says, transform the restrictive pipeline into a dynamic pathway. As the kids say, that's giving me life. I mean, because why not, right? Isn't it time that we turn the challenges that have plagued our people, marginalized people, turn this narrative on its head and celebrate what we can do, are doing, and will do, as opposed to what's brought us down for eons? So these incredible pathways programs, they, guess what? I got a bunch of spoilers tonight. They're not preparing you to be the next fill in the blank of the name of the biggest star on the classical music stage. These programs are preparing you to be the best version of you that may not even exist yet. Don't forget that. Don't get too caught up in emulating someone else, however they may be worthy of emulation, that you don't focus on the utter, unique, and dynamically diverse characteristics you and you alone possess. So, how can you set yourself apart from others, you might ask? I think we have a responsibility to be an individual who not only excels at the craft, but can articulate about its intricacies. A person who not only plays the hell out of a Beethoven sonata, and we talked about Beethoven a lot already, but we do respect and love and still need Beethoven, but not only plays that like nobody's business, or a Tanya Leon classical orchestral work, but you know the history of the world Beethoven lived in when it was composed, or what it was like for Tanya Leon growing up as an Afro-Latina woman of color in 1960s Cuba. We have to be a person who not only creates art by working diligently in your own personal space, but one who provides a space for others in their community to achieve their goals. We have to be a person who not only makes good money for being good at what they do, but then doles out that good money, Stanford, to worthy arts organizations with a meaningful purpose. These types of initiatives will surely increase the access and opportunity and close these gaps that we're working so hard to close. So the things I'm talking about, they come about by the simplest but most demanding of concepts. It's that we have to cultivate the non-musical skills with the same forthrightness and dedication that you have for your musical excellence. Get outside of that comfort zone that we were just hearing these young people talk about. How do we achieve this synergy of excellence in the craft and also being a competent citizen musician? Good old-fashioned hard work can't be underestimated. Pursuing a challenging level of work ethic is getting out of that comfort zone is a good thing. I think the pursuit of anything that requires big results, you have to be uncomfortable. There's going to be an uncomfortableness when we want to push that needle. It will pay off. I had an incredible amount of support through wonderful teachers that I spoke about and my family that allowed for me to take advantage of some of the great opportunities I've been afforded. I also was just in the right place at the right time, but I do not necessarily think it was luck. It's been said that luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity. It's a combination of constant hard work, finding comfort in your abilities because of that hard work. And if I can rest on any type of laurel, which I try not to do too much, it's knowing the imperativeness of the effort I put into practicing my scales and arpeggios, learning how to play a tune, but also realizing the importance of having a sensitivity about the world around me, being open to other people's ideas, perceptions, cultivating the skill to articulate, literally use my own voice to relay my thoughts and feelings on any given topic. So I can only hope that these stories I've told you about my own life experience and the extraordinary time that I've had so far as a professional musician will encourage you to be the next Mr. Koval, the next Mr. Pantroff, or Mr. Powell. I can only hope that you will use your voice to advocate, empower, and teach yourself about those around you, about the music you are passionate about. I can only hope that you will realize there's power in numbers, that working together to achieve a common goal is so much more rewarding, fulfilling, and prosperous than thinking that you have to go it alone. The world's a lonely place. It's hard to navigate, especially as young people in high school, in college, being a pre-professional. And for you young people, this is the next journey of your lives. I love the things that you were saying. You were talking about finding your common ground with each other. You're going to see each other in different situations. Keep doing that. Find your tribe, find your people. Celebrate your differences. Be kind to one another. Help someone when they need it. The people you meet in high school, in college, your early professional years, they'll be the people that you'll work with for the rest of your lives. I gotta say, don't make assumptions. Check the biases at the door. Get to know someone for who they are, not who you think they are. In the words of an incredibly savvy and entrepreneurial-minded person that I recently got the pleasure of working with, Drew Alexander Ford. He's also known as that Viola guy. Have you ever heard of this person? Incredible. He says, define your enemy. Well, what? What does that mean? It means know who you may need to fight against that's counter to your mission. Identifying an enemy, he says, will allow those that do support and believe in you emerge more clearly. Give yourself grace. Allow yourself to change your mind. Don't waste time with people that bring you down. Get them out your life. Bye. You gotta go. Build someone up and they'll do the same. I like this one. Make a schedule and stick to it, but then break it because your friends got last minute tickets to go to their favorite artists and they want you to come with them. That person or artist or group or whatever just might become your favorite. So do what you love what you do, and be around people that feel the same. I close by saying, don't take for granted the position that you are in at this point in your lives, young people, and not for the not so young in the room as administrators and leaders. We have such a great opportunity to not only be incredible artists and lovers of the arts, but a viable, contributing citizen of the world. And finally, to the students, I want to leave this with you. You will contribute to the world in a way that you may not even realize right now. It will be revealed to you if you keep an open heart, an open mind, and a positive attitude. Your life just might unfold and result in a most unexpected yet unimaginably beautiful outcome. Thank you for having me. Let's eat.